Bob-A-Louie here. Today we're going to talk about fixing an Ethernet cable, Cat5. In this case, the tongue is broken off, so we want to repair that by putting new plugs on each end. This is an older cable. It has two twisted pairs in it. Today you would normally find four twisted pairs in the premium um, cables that we use. So I'll explain why the change and what you're looking for and how to correct this. So there are a couple of tools that we need. One is a crimping tool designed for RJ45. That's the plug that goes on there. And I have a box of RJ45s and hoods. The hoods are designed so that this won't happen, that the tongue won't catch on something and break off. So we're going to create that. We also have a pair of scissors. So sit back and learn. Since we're using a 4-wire Cat5 cable, we're going to note the colors that we're using: black, yellow, red, and green. And we're looking at the positions that are in here. The first three positions, black, yellow, and red, are 1, 2, 3, and position 6 is green. That's the way the cable will run with the tongue down on the RJ45. This is called an RJ45. So we don't need this piece, and we're just going to cut that off, and we're left with this. And we're going to kind of score the insulation here. We don't want to cut through to the bottom. We want to just pull that off, making sure that our insulation is still good. And now we want to get our wires lined up: black, yellow, red, and green. We want to get a new RJ45 plug. And this is where the tricky part happens. We're going to try and put it in, and we need to get green, the green piece, right where it needs to go into the slot 6. So that can be tricky. Okay, it's got to go into slot 6 with black, yellow, red in their proper positions. Once you have that, so you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 should be open, and 6 would be filled. 7 and 8 will have something in it. That looks like I'm off just a little bit, so I want to put that back in. Now red moved over the wrong way. All right, I finally got it right. We take our crimping tool. A lot of them will have something for the RJ45 and also for a telephone plug. And we're going to use the RJ45. It slips in there. You'll feel it click in, and then you can compress, go all the way so that the contacts are made. And if you've done it right, the insulation will be packed on there real well. It looks good. So I've done the other side already. This side I put on with the hood just to show you don't have to have a hood, but the hood will help protect that little tongue and make it so it doesn't break off. It'll help you keep this plug secure when you're working. So there it is with a four conductor 2-pair plug. I don't recommend 4 conductor because the signal breaks down over a distance, and the new Cat5 cables are designed to work much better in preserving the signal by twisting the pairs. This time we're going to repair a broken end to a Cat6 cable. We're going to put the hood on. This is tight, so sometimes you're going to need some slickum of some sort. to get that on there because it's very tight. And that's good. We want it nice and tight. So if you have an oil or anything, you can put that on. We want a little bit of wire to work with. Again, I'm going to use my cutting tool here to cut off a little bit of the insulation, the outer insulation, without cutting the inside. So I score it and then pull it. And in this case, since it is Cat 6, it's got twisted pairs in there. The twisting of the wire helps to not lose the signal. The wires we care about are orange and green. Orange, white, orange, green, white, green. And again, we're going to be using the same positions we did on the other cable. 1, 2, 3, and 6. The nice thing here is blue goes in between. So in a standard Ethernet cable, you'd go orange, white, orange, green, white, green, or green, white, blue, blue, white, green, and then brown, white, brown. When I was a young man, I didn't follow the standards, largely because I was making my own cables. You can follow, as long as you follow your own standard convention, the cable will work. But if you're working in the industry, you really should follow what's standard everywhere. So I'm going to use my crimping tool to cut these off at the end. These tools actually have a nice way to cut everything, the insulation and the actual inner cable as well. But I never trust it because sometimes it catches one of the wires a little bit and they don't work. So I always cut my own lengths. And then we're going to push it in there nice and tight and make sure that it all lines up right. We had orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, and brown, white, brown. Just check the diagram. We're going to put it in the crimper tool and crimp it down nice and tight, and we're good to go. Now all we have to do is push the hood back up over the tongue, and we have a new plug for our Ethernet. If you need to create a crossover cable, you start with the standard side as we made it, starting with orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. But the other side crosses over. The signal side wires cross over. So instead of starting with orange, white, you're going to start with green, white, green, orange, white, blue, blue, white, orange, brown, white, brown. See, it crosses over. The reason you might want to be able to make your own Ethernet cable is costs. A 50-foot Ethernet cable could run about $35 if it's pre-manufactured, where you can make that for far less, probably $8 to $8, maybe even less. The tool itself, these sell for about $19 at a big box hardware store like Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, or Ace. You'll have to shop around for the best deal. The plugs themselves, they're relatively inexpensive. The greater the volume that you buy, the the less it is. I found that Home Depot used to sell these with the hoods. I haven't been able to find them there anymore. So I find them on the web relatively inexpensively, 50 cents a plug, even less. So for a 50-foot cable or longer, you're getting a good bargain. And if you're going to do a project with a lot of cables, um, make sure you buy your own crimper and work on it. Refer to the diagram for the layout. In older days, they used to make what was called a crossover for going between two switches. Most switches now are intelligent. They know if they're connected to another switch or a computer device. So you usually don't have to make a crossover. But this diagram will show how that crossover works. It's actually flipping the two twisted pairs over. The RJ45 plug seems like it's laid out kind of strange, with using pins 1, 2, 3, and 6. Some people have asked why, but since I've done both telephone and Ethernet, it makes some sense because telephone technology uses the center 4 pins, pins 3, 4, 5, and 6, and those twisted pairs, where Ethernet uses 1, 2, 3, and 6 in its configuration. So the plug is actually dual purpose and can be used in different situations. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning how to make an Ethernet cable. It's relatively easy. It does take some practice. And if you plug it in and it doesn't work, cut off the ends and try it again. Again, practice makes perfect. Actually, I have a friend who says perfect practice makes perfect. So you have to get it right. But keep trying. It'll work. You'll enjoy it and save a lot of money. Thanks for watching.